A very good evening to our viewers. Thank you for joining us tonight on the evening review. My name is Toivo Njabela. Tonight on the platform we are joined by Shaun Gariseb. He is a spokesperson of the Katutura Residents Committee. It's a committee that has been in the news for a number of months. They held a demonstration yesterday, and Shaun is here to fill us in on the events that unfolded yesterday. So thank you, brother, for making time. Let's get into it. The demonstration yesterday, what necessitated it?
Tevo, I should correct you. It's actually we had a press conference yesterday.
You had a press conference.
Yes, the press conference.
I'm reading your invite here. It said, oh yeah, you're right.
Yes,
So
it
sorry.
was a press
Press
conference.
conference, yes. Yeah.
The press conference was just informing the general populace about the demonstration we have on Monday, 15th of April.
Oh, so the demonstration is yet to happen.
Yes.
It's coming now on Monday.
Yes.
Okay. What is it about? What are you demonstrating against?
Yeah, the demonstration is about the debt relief program that the City of Windhoek is offering.
Yeah.
Maybe if I give a bit of context, we've been back and forth, as you rightfully say, for almost 2 years now, that we have been petitioning and demonstrating to the City of Windhoek to give us audience pertaining to recommendations we gave them in 2023, 19th July. What happened was in November 30th, or they had a resolution 2911 of 2023, which was a debt relief program offered and extended to pensioners and to non-pensioners.
Yeah.
To the ones to pensioners was a write-off with conditions. The one to non-pensioners was 50% on interest. We are demonstrating against that.
Okay. So people owe the City of Windhoek. For what are the conditions for the elders for them to have their things written off?
The elders' condition was that as of the debt is only as of until the 30th. The debt on the 30th, but one must have been an elder and a pensioner on the 30th, which means if you become a pensioner only on the 2nd of December, you do not qualify. And then the other condition is that of you must make an application to the City of Windhoek for a meter to be installed. We are also going to repudiate that, and then you must pay current of November, December, January. Those were the conditions that were there. If I maybe missed one, was that should you not apply for the meter, then you are not going to qualify for the write-off.
I see. And for non-pensioners, you're saying that it's only 50% of the interest. So the capital debt remains, and only 50% of the interest will be written off.
Yes.
What is the problem with that?
Everything. Everything is the problem because look, Tevo, when the announcement was made last year about the resolution, that one of 29/11/2030, we immediately picked up that the announcement read that it was interest on debts of pensioners also. Yeah. So we made noise about that. The City of Windhoek released a press. They made a press release and made it clear. They didn't make it clear. They changed it for in respect of pensioners and said for pensioners it's capital debt.
Yeah.
We gave practical examples where we said if you owe 1,000 and the interest is $100, they only write off $100. You are still with 1,000. It doesn't make sense because the debts that we are talking about are in their thousands, 80,000, 100,000, and so forth. Trevo, maybe it's very important to clarify that when we gave in our recommendations, we gave mechanisms that we thought the city should adopt, so that it is not seen as if we want dispensation around our responsibilities towards the city, because we are aware that the city needs to make money and we are aware that we must honor our obligations. But what we did was we intended to create a situation where the city is getting something and the burden is eased. So we gave recommendations that were in the interest of both the city and and the residents. So one of those recommendations was that even before you write off for pensioners, let's not have conditions for pensioners, because having conditions will make the process difficult.
Yeah.
That is what we told them at that time. Come, fast forward. Then what happened was we came to 2024. We decided on the 7th of February that we are going to inquire. The promise you gave us in 2023 that you are going to have debt relief for pensioners. When is it starting? We went the 7th, they told us that on the 15th they are starting. On the 15th they are starting with the debt relief until 15th of April, which is this coming Monday.
Yeah.
That is what they did. So we went there and then we said, okay, it's fine. They are going to start. On the 15th when they start, various challenges started coming up.
Yeah. So you seem to paint the picture of bureaucracy. Do you think things like having to apply for the meter, and I suppose then you get into the queue of installations, by the time they reach your house, your current debt has spiraled out of control? Is that some of the fears that you have?
Yes, we had, and we posed that question to the City of Windhoek on the day we went to make an inquiry pertaining to when the relief is starting. We said, why don't you just use your database to write off? City of Windhoek said, no, they want to update their database. That was not true. We realized that what they intended to do was they went to get a back-to-back agreement with the financer, and they have to prove to the financer with an application or people who are willing to apply and register their 2,000. So finance us so that we can procure the meters. The meters are still not ready. The meters are only coming in August or October.
Yeah.
So imagine, while the meters are not there, you bind somebody to. And not only that, Toivo, we also picked up that paying for the meters, it is a violation of the Local Authorities Act. So we are going to point out these things on the 15th. And that's why we are going to, we are not only going to demonstrate, we are going to reject not only the 50% that they are offering to non-pensioners, we are also going to demand a review of the conditions. Because in our recommendations, we are saying there must not be conditions. And we know this, we already had these challenges. What we didn't want was to come across as if we are sabotaging efforts to come on par with the City of Windhoek. That's why we allowed them to go through the month.
Yeah. So as a Katutura Residents Committee, Katutura, of course, is one of the, I think people, I mean, as someone who grew up in Katutura myself, I think it's a revolutionary place with a rich history, resistance and stuff like that. How Katutura came about, as a matter of fact, was part of a very painful history, but paint me a picture of how people came to owe the city so much money. What happened?
Look, there was COVID.
Yeah.
We must never forget that there was COVID. People lost jobs, people lost employment, people lost... COVID affected a lot of things. But the other thing that escalated these debts was there are debts that have birthdays. They've been coming for over 15 years. What we realized was that, you see, a debt is supposed to prescribe in 3 years. But City of Windhoek has a way of, or we don't want to say they do this, but we see that they have a profit before people kind of approach, wherein they are rather interested in keeping people in debt as opposed to solving it. Because in our recommendations we said, we asked, why do debts not prescribe after 3 years? Why don't you take defaulters to court? Because we picked up that, we said that you don't do that because you invite people for arrangements. Every time when a debt is about to expire, people go and renew the debt. And when they renew the debt or sign an acknowledgement of debt, they are bonded and they are binded for 30 years. So some of these debts have escalated. And what they have done in the past is they have written off without having the mechanisms. That's why when we gave the recommendations, we said, if we just write off debts, we will go back to the same situation. That's why we are saying we are not here to write off debts. We want us to get a solution that will avoid Toivo from getting in the same position after 2 years. Because some people, they have already enjoyed debt write-off, but they're saying they're in the same situation. Why? Because of the circumstances of unemployment, because of COVID. We know how the country's situation is.
Yeah.
You see, and 50% of the young people are unemployed. And new statistics show that 75 to 70% of the people are young. And some of these people are sitting with inherited debts from their parents and their grandparents. So that is the picture that is there.
If I play the devil's advocate here, the City of Windhoek would argue, for example, that during COVID, there was this clemency, this relief, where water was availed for free.
Yes.
So how can we still use COVID as an excuse?
Yeah, but look, the water was availed for free, but the debts were not written off. The debts kept escalating. Interest calculation, we asked, how do you calculate your interest? How do you calculate your areas? City of Windhoek is not forthcoming. People are only like, if you go and make debt arrangement there, you are not shown the whole picture of what your debt is about. You are only told you must pay a certain amount for reconnection, and then with the reconnection fee. But in order for you to solve your debt, you will never understand it until you see the whole debt. Currently, we have done debt analysis on three to four accounts, which we are going to present to them, where we say these are the reasons. This is what we have established. These are the reasons why we are rejecting the 50% that you are offering to non-pensioners, because the 50% is close to nothing. If you are going to write off 13,000 from 100,000, and then you expect me to get 87,000, where if out of 10 people at the household only there is one pensioner, or there are only 2 people working? These are the realities of people in Windhoek, and this is not only a Katutura issue. This is the reality of the whole, all the residents of Windhoek.
I agree. I agree. We go for a quick break and then return with Shaun Gariseb. The conversation continues on the evening review. Now, Shaun, I just want you to give me a sense of how much responsibility are people willing to take, because there are rights and obligations, and you alluded to it that people are not neglecting that sense of responsibility, but just how much are they willing to come to the party themselves to say, look, I got into this because of because some people also, some have jobs, but they just say, it's a small bill, I'll deal with it. Next month I'll deal with it, until the thing has accumulated beyond their ability. And then later they say, oh, but I'm in trouble, can the city please come to rescue me?
Yes, Devo, in our recommendations, there's a recommendation that says, City of Windhoek, if we adopt the mechanisms, let one mechanism be such that when any resident reaches 6,000, let that be a ceiling, so that we do not escalate into unmanageable debts. So when somebody comes at a 6,000 ceiling, then you are able to close their water and electricity, and then they can make arrangement to settle that first, as opposed to allowing that person to go into debts of 80 to 100,000, which makes it impossible to manage. That is one of the recommendations that we gave. We also encourage people as we go. Even since last year, we've been telling people, let's pay where we are able to. And for those people who are allowing people to be in their backyards, and so even if they are family, let's take responsibility and make payment towards City of Windhoek. The problem is not with the payment. That's why on the very first day when we went there, we said, no. we do not want write-offs, because we had write-offs. In the past 15 years, there were probably 3 write-offs. We even made reference to them, because what they are doing is they just give a figure, we are writing off 325 million. But if you take that writing off and that amount that has been said, we were questioning, how did you arrive at that 325 million if your write-off is coming with conditions? Because some people are not qualifying. So how are you establishing that figure? So we picked up that no, something is not adding up here. We took light of what happened in South Africa in 2023, where water meters were imposed in a Soweto water project. It was called Grinamanzi. Operation Grinamanzi is what it was called. Those people resisted the imposing of conditions on themselves. What City of Windhoek did is they took characteristics of that project, and those characteristics had to do with only conditions and making money. Those people of South Africa, their resistance was premised on the 2000 and 2001 Bolivian water resistance war that was there. Those people said no with privatizing a right, which is water. You cannot privatize water and come and say we must pay for water because it is outsourced in this way. So what our people are aware of is that we can make payments. People are even going there and making arrangements. Even now, people are calling and saying, I went to make an arrangement, but I'm being told because of a reconnection, I must pay 40,000, but I'm able to pay 10,000. How can I go about so that an arrangement can be made? So even 3,000. Imagine, Tuevo, there were pensioners who were only getting 1,200, who were willing to pay 1,200 to Red Force, so that their water and electricity can be. How can people like that not be willing to honor their obligations? That is not. I don't think that attitude. We are trying to do on our part. We are trying to discourage if there is a culture of not paying for their municipal bills. And by the way, when you go to municipality Katutura or even in town, every month end, the people you are going to see are the same people that are in the petition line with us. Those people are the ones who always go. Even pensioners, the first thing they ensure is to pay for those municipal bills, because those are the only houses we have.
When you talk about conditions, Shaun, and you've been hammering on that, is it that the conditions are not right, or there shouldn't be any conditions at all? Because I suppose the city, what it's trying to do also is to say, look, meet us halfway. We do this for you, we scratch your back, you scratch ours. Is it the specific conditions that you're not happy with, or you believe that there shouldn't be any conditions?
No, there shouldn't be any conditions, because the conditions are rather scrupulous. Firstly, you are saying the meter costs 5,000, and then you are saying it must be paid over 5 years. Somebody is coming and saying, can I pay the meter? Can I pay the meter off tomorrow? You're saying no, you can only pay it after 2 years, which means you want to benefit on the interest. So what it means is, if you calculate consumption of water at $20 or $30 per day, you will end up on 8,400 per year. You see, the Soweto project that was in South Africa, which they probably premised their relief on, those people offered 600 liters of water before you start paying per month to every resident. That was even better. But here, what they are saying is you must pay that meter over 5 years. So if you pay it over 5 years, what it now in essence says is, and you must remember, we are also telling you that as the City of Windhoek is enshrined in the Local Authorities Act, is supposed to instill these meters for free. So now you are saying you are going to pay these 5,000 over 5 years, so which means they are giving you with this hand and then they are taking with this hand. That's why we say these conditions, they are not helping anything, because at the same time you are writing off and then you are making the same money back. Where is the solution here?
Yeah. Let's talk about these municipal services, water in particular. People say water is life. People say that NamWater shouldn't be an overly commercialized entity. It's a utility organization. It's a state-owned entity, and it should be as generous as possible in their pricing of water and all these things. Do you think that as a country, our utilities are too expensive? I saw the Electricity Control Board this week. I think they have Nampower has asked for a 14% rise, which is crazy, really. I don't know how I'm going to feed my children with that increment. But what are your thoughts on the costing of these things?
They are expensive, but I was to me, I thought when we consulted the residents, the thinking and the acceptance of water meters and electricity meters was, if you do this, you'll be in a situation where if you don't consume, you don't owe. You see, but there's a twist to it. The water is a right, we say, but we're also aware that it's very scarce. You see, water is a right, but it is also scarce, especially in a country like us. Then, in essence, you are also discriminating against those who are economically unable to buy. You see, so which means if I don't have money, I don't. But that only curbs the owing part. But for it's also discriminating. It's also discriminatory. But it is expensive because if you are to say that, and then there's those people who are only able to scrape out rates and taxes per month, and then with water they will be struggling if it's on a prepaid meter, everything, water and electricity. So I think it's something that is supposed to be free. Like I was saying, with the Bolivian resistance, the people are saying that this is our right, it's supposed to be free.
Yeah. It's 2024, it's election year. Topics like that will dominate political campaigns, but is your committee contemplating running for representation on the City of Windhoek Council? As a ratepayers association of some sort?
No. We don't contemplate on that because at this stage we are driven by the circumstances. We are driven by the circumstances of all residents. In fact, what we are going to do on Monday, we even did this. We even reached out to people from different areas with different other circumstances. So people from as far as the outskirts of Windhoek will be joining us. You might also see vendors that will be joining us, so that we don't want to represent people's other people's issues. We are representing our own circumstances, but if that time comes, that will determine. But at this stage, we have not thought of that. We are just thinking of having a solution to this issue that is at hand, and we want to rectify what is pressing the residents of Windhoek and Katutura.
Who do you pin this issue on? This suffering of your people, who do you blame it for? Because if you go to the City of Windhoek, you have the administration, the technocrats there. Then you have the council that has 5 SWAPO councillors, 4 IPC councillors, AR 2 seats, and so on and so forth. So, do you blame this on anyone specific or on the collective?
No, look, even although I don't think this City of Windhoek, anybody from City of Windhoek will openly admit this, but this situation is caused by how things have been run over the years. That's why I was saying writing off has been done. City of Windhoek sits with a big problem financially. You see, Toivo, it's also important to note that we invited 7 stakeholders for the demonstration on Monday. And these are people like the Ombudsman, the Minister of Lands, the ACC head, the Competitions Commission head, the Auditor General, and the CEO. Those are some of the people that we have. And this is deliberate. And everybody is because some of them we had already written to them last year. Yeah. And we have told them that, look, this, like with the Ombudsman, we have written to him and we have made a complaint for Red Force against them, and they haven't been forthcoming. They only wrote a letter yesterday, and in that letter, they are saying the City of Windhoek is the one delaying the meetings that they were supposed to have for 7 months. Yeah. So they've assured us that they are going to, the Ombudsman himself is going to be there. So it just speaks to the situation that is there. You see, we cannot, people on the ground will sit and say, councillors, the councillors, we have given up on them. There was no councillor who came to us and said, look, your approach is wrong, or we sympathize with you, but our hands are tied because we have this. We cannot be subjected to infights of political parties that must be. We need people to stand up with us. That's why we vote them in. So we do not want to blame. We have seen that, okay, that is the situation, but this cannot only be a sole problem of the councillors. We understand the situation and there are also people within City of Windhoek that must do their job and they must protect the status quo. City of Windhoek, like it's run like a private business. They must their profit before people based their approach is like that. So they do things like that. If I'm the head of finance there and the money is coming in, who is going to blame me?
Final question, and very briefly, Shaun, if you can. Maybe just again to give details of Monday's events.
Yeah, Monday's event is going to be we are going to have a demonstration and a registration at City of Windhoek Katutura Customer Care Center. By registration, I mean...
Is that the one in Ombil?
The one in Katutura, opposite Katutura ShopRite.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so by registration, I mean we are going to, as the non-pensioners, businesses, unemployed, vulnerable, disabled, and all those other groups that are not pensioners are going to give in a registration list to the City of Windhoek with reasons as to why we want to be written off. Yeah. So we are going to give in a list. We will start at Blockchain. That is the meeting point around 9 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock we will be at the City of Windhoek Customer Care Center, where we will give in our concerns to the various stakeholders which we have invited, as well as to the City of Windhoek. We give them our demands in the list. That is what is going to happen on Monday. So we will meet 9 o'clock, and then we pass from Clemens Kapuo, and then we pass Independence Avenue, Mahatma Gandhi. Will switch into the other lane, and then we go to the City of Windhoek's offices.
Absolutely. Shaun, thank you for making that.
Thank you, Twins.
Yeah, this is Shaun Gariseb telling us about the events that are lined up for Monday, the 15th of April, by Katutura residents who are fighting head-on against the City of Windhoek around those bills that are ever escalating. Thank you for watching.